No, that one was just a scheduled trip when I went to South America. But a lot of these other places that I went to, how I saw most of the United States was through my music. You know what I'm saying? We were doing tours and stuff. So
just rewind again. I mean, are you that big? You got a scheduled trip? What is a scheduled trip?
A scheduled trip, like you
called
a
tour, sir.
It's
called a tour. Oh, a scheduled trip. Yeah, it's called vacation.
No, I'm saying a scheduled trip. That's just my personal.
I know what he's saying. Arnel. You said Diddy. Most of us just gonna say vacation. You gonna say I went on a scheduled trip. See, you said Diddy, man. That's it. He one of them uppity Denry. He one of them uppity Negroes, man.
Exactly.
What's up? What's up? Get your pen, get your paper, jot down some ideas, turn your mic on, and go to Anchor app or anchor.fm. Listen, I am on three platforms, and about to make a fourth platforms on these podcasts. This is Denry the Overcomer, and I'm letting you know right now, the place to be is Anchor app. Listen, go to Anchor app, download the app, or go to anchor.fm and put your content out. You have something to say. We need to hear what you have to say. I have something to say, and I'm on 4 platforms, as I mentioned. So I know you definitely got something to say. So put it out there on Anchor app, anchor.fam. We're waiting to listen. It's going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. All right? And get paid. Peace.
Yo, this is Mike from the Be Honest podcast. Always remember, be honest with others, be honest with God, and most importantly, be honest with yourselves.
Watch this.
I'm winning. Can't tell me I'm not. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm not. I'm winning. Can't tell me I'm not. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm not. I'm winning. Can't tell me I'm not. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm not. I'm winning.
Both fists raised, we praise God for victory. The enemy can celebrate in the face of my enemy. The energy I used to hate no longer part of me. So pardon me for trusting the vengeance to the one who parts the sea. He paid the fee so I can go free. I call that bail money. Chasing back so you can be rich. I call that fail money. Sowing out so you can reap later. I call that well money. Wise with the talents he gave us. Yeah, that's how we coming. We ain't running, never back down. Even if we take the L, greater is the one that's in me, then he that's in the world. We the first, cause we were last, and now the roads flip. We the light and he keeps us on, the breaker never trips. We ain't running, never back down. Even if we take the L, greater is the one that's in me, then he that's in the world. We the first, cause we were last, the roads are now flipped. We the light and he keeps us on, the breaker never trips.
Yo, what's up, everyone, man? Welcome back to the Be Honest podcast. First of all, we just want to thank you for rocking with us. It's been a while, but we're just excited that you're still joining us. And today we're going to have kind of a continuation of a conversation we had before, but we're going to expand it to talk about Black identity. Black identity, what does that mean? And we're going to talk about it 3 different perspectives. But before we get into it, I just want to introduce my co-host. We got Denry the Overcomer. We still questioning that name a little bit, but Denry, say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, family? What's up, you guys? What's up? What's up?
And then we got my main man, Arnel, Patience. Well, Denry's my main man too. Patience, say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, everybody? We appreciate y'all for rocking with us, and y'all already know we're gonna be honest.
That's right. We're gonna be honest. Fellas,
that was so Atlanta of you. That was so Atlanta of you.
Let that man be A-Town. He remember what he told you. He said pre-96 A-Town. He is A-Town.
I'm telling you, what else can I be?
There's nothing else he can be. Fellas, listen. One of our last conversations, we have started diving into identity. We started talking about our unique identities as Black men. This term Black. And it has so many different varying definitions when you ask different people. And we kind of dived into it. And so as Black History Month is on the horizon, I thought, and we thought it'd be a great time for, let us just talk about that a little bit. So the question I want to ask to start this whole thing off is, what does it mean to be a Black man? My mom used to always, and I mentioned this before, my mom always told me and my older brother growing up, she always said, Michael, you're a Black man in America. And she just kept saying that. And that statement that she said to me took on so many different meanings. So for each of you fellas, and Denry, I'll start with you, and we could just spin this around, all of us, and we just talk about it. What does it mean to be a Black man? And give us some of your background as it relates to the meaning of a Black man.
Listen, we don't have enough airtime for
No, we don't.
No, we don't. So
Black.
keep
You
it brief.
Jamaican.
Keep it brief.
You ain't Black. So let's just keep it. Let's just skip to me because he ain't Black.
That's why Mike is running the pivot. That's why Mike is running the pivot today, because we don't got enough time. But real quick, I mean, go ahead, Arnel. Go ahead, man. I'll come after you. Because I mean, for me, it's a little touchy for me. But go ahead, Arnel. You go ahead first, man.
Okay, man. Well, listen, I'll start. Okay, so for me, being a Black man, growing up in America means you have to work twice as hard just to get on a level playing field with your counterparts, right? That's what it means for me.
Wow.
Now, as far as identity goes, it means that I have to be very careful, aware of my surroundings. See what I'm saying? Aware of the company I keep, aware of how I'm going to be perceived. You know, all of these things come to bear because I was taught at a very early age, you know, by my dad. My dad is from Miami, Florida, right? And so him coming to, when he came and moved to Atlanta, it was the Jim Crow South. It's exactly what was going on. So he learned very early in his life, and he was in his 20s, right? He was in his 20s. So he learned very early, and he told me, he said, I told the Lord, if he blessed me with boys, I'm going to make sure that they know exactly how this world sees them, especially living in the South, and what their responsibility is as young Black men. And so that's what he did. You know, he made sure we knew how to interact with police. Right or wrong, he made sure we were in the house at a certain time of night, because he said after a certain time of night, you become a target. Right. You need to know that. So you need to be in the house. Right.
Yeah.
And so he did his best to make sure that we were very aware of who we were. So we didn't grow up with no misconceptions. Right. And even to the point where, you know how you guys have, you know, people of color for parents or Black parents, however you want to say it. But, you know, they will, because of their experience and the trauma that they have faced, they're going to take it the extra mile, right? With their children. See what I'm saying? And a lot of it is not because we grow up thinking, oh my God, my dad is mean, my dad is strict, I can't believe he won't let us go over and play with these kids over here. They look like they having fun. Why can't we just go to the neighborhood basketball court? You know, all of this stuff. But my dad was able to see beyond what we could see, right? Because he knew drug dealers hang out over there. Right. Drug dealers play ball over there. And so he's not saying there's something necessarily wrong with them, but he knows that they are a target for police. So if you're over there, when the police decide to swoop in, guess what? You going to jail too. Yep. You going to jail too. So he was vigilant. I'll say that. You know what I mean? He was vigilant about making sure that he educated us on that. And so, you know, this may seem like I'm just going around the world, but all of this helps to form my identity of who I am and how I carry myself. It all plays a role. Wow. You see what I mean? It all plays a role. So, you know, that's a little bit, like I said on the last episode, I'm not gonna talk out the whole episode because I could.
Yeah, listen,
So
with a topic like this, we all care,
Denry.
man. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, man, because it's layered.
Right.
Bro. It's so many layers to it. It's literally like peeling back an onion. It's layered, man.
Right.
And each layer you go, it's go deeper. And I hate to say it, a lot like an onion too. The more you unpack it, bro, tears start to come from your eyes. You see what I'm saying?
Man, that's deep, man.
I'm serious.
That's why, and that's the beauty of this topic, and that's why we all agree. Like, yo, we got to talk about identity because, like you said, it means so much to us, and it's so much of who we are. So, Denry, go ahead, man. Let us know, man. What does it mean to be a black man? What does that mean?
It's funny, but it's not funny. Normally, when you ask that question to a black man, we start off majority the same way Arnel did, and it's crazy, but that tells you part of our identity, like man being pulled over by the cops. You know what I'm saying? Being upset, can't have limitations and all that stuff. So it's like our mind is just defaulted to like focus on the rough sides of being black. I was watching Blackish a while ago, and there was an episode about the nod.
Yes, sir. I love that episode. I love that episode.
Exactly. The head nod. And as a matter of fact, I found out there's two versions of the head nod. Mike and Arnel. There's the head nod when you nod your head down. That's a little subtle one. And that one, I think you allow that one to even whites or non-blacks, Hispanic. But then there's the head nod when you nod your head up. When that's
right.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sir.
And that's like I see you and I feel you.
Yeah.
That nod right there is I see you. Like Mike, I know you remember. Arnel, I'm sure too, back in high school, like you see your homeboys, you lift it, you tilt it up just not a 95, just a little angle.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you raise it up slowly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. For me, dude, like that's what I'm saying. This is gonna be a heavy topic for us. But for me, in different ways, when I hear about being black, man, I think yes, I'm tempted to think the defaults of the oppression and suppression and all of that. But I think about the beauty, man. I think about the beauty of our culture, the uniqueness of our culture. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when I was in Harlem, man, and I'll talk about that another time, but y'all know my issues when I went to the South and how I was told I wasn't black enough. We're gonna leave that for another time. When I was in Harlem, Mike, it was this melting pot of culture. The West Indians, the Africans, the Jamaicans, the blacks, the African Americans, the Hispanic, and the Dominicans. And I mean, yes, everybody had their little inside beef and stuff like that, but it was just this culture, this richness. I learned Kwanzaa when I was in Harlem. Black History Month. What? Black History Month was every month.
For sure.
Shout out to PS154 for teaching me the fundamentals from elementary school. You know what I'm saying? That was right there in Harlem. Teaching me. I went to Harriet Tubman High School.
Powerful.
Harriet Tubman. No, not high school. Elementary school. A PS154. And I learned, Arnel, the basics of the root of blackness. Like the stuff like they be talking about now. I'm like, dude, I knew that. I was not even an option for us.
Wow. That's a blessing, man.
So
that's a blessing.
Culture, the music, the rap, the hip hop, R&B, blues, gospel, what we did to like every music genre, we took it and we just took it to another level. Reggae,
no doubt.
I mean, just man, dude, the skin, the beauty of our skin, the nappy hair. Even I hated that first, but I guess I got to give her respect to a little bit of the sag. Just a little of the sag. Just a little. Not a lot.
Right.
Not the butt showing sag.
Yeah, don't try to lie. You had your butt out, my man. You had your butt.
Just a loosened belt sag.
with them size 44 pants on.
Right. All the way down. Baggy. Real
belt.
baggy.
Just the loose belt. Not the butt out. Not the butt out, but the loose belt sag. So that's just my
the subtle sag.
Subtle sag.
The subtle
like
sag.
You still trying to be a gentleman, but you still holding on to your gangster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's the first part for me, Mike.
Fellas, thanks for sharing that. And this conversation is going to get real deep, because it's important, and that's why when we agree, like, let's do identity. That word has so much power for who we are and how we see the world. And so, just for me, like I said, just that little story, my mom telling us, with me and my older brother, you're a black man in America, and each there were significant periods in my life where that statement had more, was raised to a higher level. It had more currency as I got older and started to have different experiences. Like I remember an experience where I was probably in 5th or 6th grade, and this was when I was living in Long Island at the time. Like I said, I'm from Harlem, but I've lived in every borough except for Staten Island and in Long Island. So I'm New York City for real. Right. So I remember all the way. So I remember this white kid. He was saying something. We were in chorus, I think, and he called me a grease monkey. So in that moment, it was an experience of, okay, my mom told me you're a black man.
Dead, right?
Say that again.
He dead, right?
No, he's not dead. I punched him in the forehead, though. I'm gonna keep that real.
Yo, man, stop starting
stuff. Look at you.
Drop time.
Listen,
you trying to get Mike investigated?
Right. It's just statute of limitations, man. You don't know. Ain't no statute of limitations on murder, man. What if I actually did, man? You snitch. But you're trying to get me to self-incriminate. But
right.
Yeah. So we had got into a fight, and I think at the moment I had brushed it off because I used to wear like a lot of Vaseline. Everybody remember the tube of petroleum jelly. If you're in a black house, you know about the tube.
Every day.
That tube lasts forever and ever and ever. You be real shiny when you go to school. Like everybody ain't using lotion. Our skin too thick. You know what I'm saying? So that was one period where that you're a black man in America had a certain level of currency. And then I get older, and then I'm sure Denry remembers this, and I know Arnel was all over TV. The Sean Bell situation happened. And when the Sean Bell shooting happened, this guy was on his honeymoon at night. He was not on his honeymoon, but he was having a bachelor party with his guys at night. Police shot into his car and killed him. Like, that turned the city upside down. You know what I'm saying? There were other situations happening in the city where, like, Amadou Diallo, but I was a lot younger. This one was the one where
I remember that.
When I was like a little, you remember that? Like, so this is when I was a little older. This was like my freshman year in college, and I remember we were doing a protest, and it was an all black day where everybody just wore all black that day, and we was protesting, and I was in a speech contest in my college, and I spoke about that, and I didn't really get any applause. I remember when I finished the speech, you didn't hear anything. It was silence. And I lost the speech contest. And of course, I'm blaming it because this was a Catholic school that I'm going to. There's this black dude with this deep voice talking about, what it means to be black and the experience of it. So that was one period. And then, of course, as I mentioned in the last episode, when I read Brother Malcolm's book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, that was another period where blackness took on what it meant to be black, not even just a black man, but what it meant to be black, took on this larger than life concept to present day, where I started understanding more about, kind of disassociating myself from the term African American, just because it doesn't truly represent, and why I've adopted the term ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, because that speaks more so to our lineage as opposed to the color, which leads to my second point and my second question to all of y'all fellas. Do we even need to be black? Why can't we just be human? You will hear people say,
Right.
well, I don't see
Yeah.
color. I just see humans. So how do y'all feel
No.
about that? Do we need to identify as black? Do we need to identify in that way, given what it means to us, or can we just be human? Why can't we be colorblind?
Yo,
So
listen, you know, Mike, I feel like I want to respond to that, man.
Go ahead, man.
Because I, you know, for a long time, I felt like that. You know what I mean? Why can't we all just be American? Why do we have to be? We know that, and we know for those of you who have done history, you understand that here in America, they intentionally group you into colors for a reason.
Right.
See what I'm saying? That's not by accident. It was woven into our society so that they could understand how and where to disenfranchise who. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
They could group you together. They understand where you are. They know the neighborhoods that they over police. They know the neighborhoods where they do the gerrymandering. You see what I'm saying? They know what they need to do, so that we understand that was so that they could stay in power and try to remain in control. So we understand that was done systematically. You see what I'm saying? So when I understand that, now here's what I'm saying. To Mike's question. In a utopian society, that would be ideal.
Sure.
Right? That would be ideal. However,
it's not realistic.
In America, in other places, listen, where my wife is from, Barbados, everybody's Bajan, white, Chinese, whoever.
Right.
You know why? They don't live with their oppressors. See what I'm saying?
Unique
Everybody over there in every level of society, right? It's black, from the prime minister on down. Every level of society.
Right.
But over here, it's a lot different. We still not only live with our oppressors, they are still currently trying to find ways to continue the oppression.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so I feel like it's necessary, right, for us to I understand when people say, "Oh, I don't see color" and all of that. I said, you know, I think you're coming from a place of good intentions. However, that's naive.
Sure.
Because it's important for you to see this person's color so you can understand their struggle.
That's right.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That way, when you understand this person's struggle, you will not only have sympathy, but the goal is for you to empathize. That means don't just look down and like, oh, I'm so sorry that's happening to you. No, let me come down there and see how I can help you get up here. See what I'm saying? So in order for that to happen, though, we can't go around saying, I don't see color. See what I'm saying? I can't do that to my Spanish brothers and sisters. I can't do it to my Asian brothers and sisters. Because listen, living here in America, and I just learned this, man, for those of you who if you have the opportunity to watch it, watch this. It's a documentary on Prime Video called All In: The Fight for Democracy, right?
Okay.
I heard an Asian guy on there talking about how signature verification disenfranchises their community. They said because when they come here from different parts of Asia, right?
Wow.
They come to America, they have to adopt an American name.
Yes.
So what are the odds of them being able to sign that name perfect? What is the odds of anybody being able to sign that name perfectly each and every time?
Yeah, plus they use characters. They don't use what's the proper term for our
alphabet?
Language? They use characters. Yeah.
Well, it's a different term. Well, yeah, because they use characters.
Yeah, they use characters. So if you're saying the signature verification, like they got to learn a whole different system of writing.
Exactly.
The way the paper is because I think in their culture too, they go from we read from left to right. They read from right to left, man. But continue, man. Yo, that's heavy. I didn't.
But you see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
Now, if I can't go around saying I don't see color, because if I do that, I won't even be interested in understanding their struggle
Wow.
as Asian Americans. You see what I'm saying? And not just sympathizing with them, but empathizing with them and saying, I want to fight to stop people from disenfranchising their community when it comes to voting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to stop that. Just like I'm passionate about it stopped in my community. In order for me to see and understand what's happening in their community, I have to be willing to look at him, right, and say, this is an Asian American male, female, whoever. Let me try to understand. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not saying it's intentional. And this is my last point. I'm not saying it's intentional. But sometimes when we go around saying, I don't see color, let's just all be brothers and sisters, it's a way of saying, I don't have to dig beyond the surface. You see what I'm saying? Let's just stay up here.
It's intentional.
So that's my last point.
It's intentional, Arnel. You know, I know exactly what you saw when I was at a seminary in where we got.
You forgot where you went to school at? Did he actually go? Everyone, that's the question. Did he go? Let's find out if he actually went.
Listen, he trying to scrub that from his memory.
I had a situation. If these two knuckleheads will let me talk, black man, I had a situation where it was some people from other races that basically kind of cornered me. It was around the not Imitel, but oh man, why am I drawing blank today? The dude in Florida that got the young man with the
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin. Yeah,
my man said Emmett Till.
I remember his name.
You old brother.
No, because there was that's how old I am, guys. That's how old I am.
Denry was around there.
And for our listeners, just for time reference, I'm an 80s, 90s Harlem. Mike is a 90s,
early 2000s
Harlem.
Listen, when Denry says 80s, 90s, he means 1980s and 1990s.
Yes, 1980s and 1990s. You know,
that's the only way the Emmett Till story works, man. That's the only way.
Exactly. My first black celebrity was see Dougie Fresh. You know what I'm saying? Live. So that's my kind of school. But anyway,
okay.
And the point I was making was they were trying to. I'm just saying they were trying to gag me about posts I was saying pertaining to on Facebook about the whole situation, and they were trying to. And we'll talk about this heavy on another time. They were trying to Jesus me. They were trying to say, "Oh, as Christians, we shouldn't be focusing, talking about that. Let's just be one. Let's just be one. What will Jesus do?
About it.
You know, stuff like they totally was trying to dismiss that whole situation. So when you say that, Arnel, I feel you. And a lot of people try to. It's kind of like being indifferent about the situation. I don't want to deal with it. Let's just say. Let's be colorblind.
Exactly.
Let's just not focus on color. But the point I want to add to that, you brought a good point there, is that when we look to our history as black people, whether in the West Indies, in America, in Canada, whatever, our identity was stripped from us. You know, through slavery. I'm talking about if when we go through Black history, we'll talk more about that. But you talking about, you know, kids were taken from their mothers, fathers were sent to different plantation in different states. People were mixed with different language, and people when they think about Africa, they think of it as one country. We talk about 100 and something different.
There you
countries
go.
Here, you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And so we as Black people, whether we're from the West Indies, America, Atlanta, whatever, we always trying to connect ourselves with some identity. Like even if it's a negative identity for the world, exactly for some, they say the N-word. I don't have a problem saying the nigger. So when we used to hear nigga, it was offensive, but we took it, put it in our songs, put it on our clothes, and now like we run the market, like we tell people, dictate to people when they can say nigga. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing about our culture that we've always done is just like you throw filth at us, we're gonna turn that thing into manure. And we're gonna grow trees and fruits and feed everybody with it.
That's facts, man.
You see what I'm saying? So
facts.
that's just it's just the identity thing. Like even a person like me, a black man like me, like I'm still toying with the word black. But then when I read the history about how they identified us as black, but then I'm just like, okay, well I'm saying I'm Africans, but then Africans, they said, no, you're not African. You're not the real African. You're actually white. Real quick, Mike. I know we're about to go to break soon. Real quick, I had a homegirl. She went to Ghana. She was doing actually some ministry work in Ghana, and they introduced her as a white lady.
Wow.
And she's like, "What? Like, what? I'm black." I'm like, "No." They said anybody, and this was probably just this particular area. They said anybody who is through the slave or European and connected with America, they're not. We don't consider them Africans or black. We consider them Europeans.
Man,
what?
Man,
yes. She was like, they called her. They don't see her as black. They see her as European.
Man, listen, that's crazy, man.
That's crazy, man.
This whole separation thing. What the white people and what the white man did to us.
Yeah.
Yo, it has jacked us up as a people so bad that like
my God.
Man, listen.
Even if we walked around with a rubber stamp on our forehead,
man.
Right.
Still,
it's like the term black has this duality of being positive and negative at the same time. And we're walking around with
at
that.
The same time.
So right before we go to break, I want to tease because Denver, you kind of just led into the next thing that I think we want to talk about to close. And it's, if we accept black, do we need to distinguish that within the black community? So do we need to distinguish in the black community? Do we need to disaggregate from different groups? But put a pin in that. This is the Be Honest podcast. Again, we're talking about black identity. We're talking about black identity. We are going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to dive a little deeper. Do we need to distinguish in the black community?
What's going on, my peoples? This is your main man, Denry the Overcomer from the multiple podcast arenas. Listen up. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm an expert on sneakers, but I do love to look good in some fly kicks. Yes, I went old school there. And I love to hear a good conversation about sneakers. I'm not going to be the one that has everything in my closet, but these two cats right here, Arnel Patience and my boy Mike Miller, they have the podcast going, the #1 podcast going about sneakers, all things sneakers, and that's called Sabbath Sneakers Podcast. Yes, I said it. Sabbath Sneakers Podcast. Why Sabbath? You got to check it out to find out. And why sneakers? You have to listen. And even if you're not a fan of sneakers, trust me, the conversation is that legit. So check it out on all the platforms at Sabbath Sneakers Podcast. You got to check them out. My man Mike, my homeboy Arnel, aka Patience, Sabbath Sneakers. Check it out. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check it out on their podcast. Check them out. Get yourself a fresh pair of kicks and a fresh pair of conversation. Peace. So check this out, yo. Check this out. So listen, every now and then I get down. Yep, not down like dancing, but sometimes I'm just discouraged and I need a prep talk. You know, I need a pep talk. I need somebody just to encourage me. What I like to turn to, I know there's a lot of motivational speakers out there, but there's an upcoming motivational speaker by the name of Dante Johnson. Yep, Dante Johnson. He has his podcast. Those of you who love podcasts, love a good prep talk in the morning. It's called Mask Off Mornings. Mask off mornings. Yes, that's right. Yes, I said it. Mask off morning. He does not hold back. He tells the truth just like it is. This latest topic was fear. And I know many of us are scared, and you're scared even right now to try, but try him. That's Dante Johnson. Mask Off Mornings with Dante Johnson. You got to check this out. If you need encouragement, if you need a new walk for the day, if you feel down, you feel out, you need to hear somebody who's real and honest, that's Dante Johnson. Check him out. You heard.
Yo, we back. The Be Honest podcast. I know for some of y'all, it's like, man, here they go again with this heavy kind of. But listen, that's what we do here. We're honest, and it's not just about us. We know that there's some people listening right now that you're wondering the same. You're going through different. We may not necessarily say struggles, but you're having questions too about your identity and wrestling with your identity, and maybe learning some new things. So our hope is that this inspires you to maybe start to think deeper, not only about your Black identity, but whatever identity you identify with. And so this part is, because what we just talked about is, do we need the term Black? And I think for the three of us, I think the consensus more or less was like, yeah, it matters for various reasons. But now let's go deeper, because as we explain to our people, fellas, the three of us have differing backgrounds within the Black community. Absolutely. And so rather than present it as if we're just, you always hear people say Black people are not a monolith. Well, if that's the case, do we need to distinguish, or can we just be all Black the same? Anybody can go, man.
Let me, Arnel, if you don't mind me jumping real quick.
No, go for it. Go for it.
It's funny because any of the identities that we have, and I know, Mike, we have the, was it
ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery.
ADOS.
I need you to start getting comfortable.
I guarantee you that somebody's going to have a problem with that soon. Let me show you real quick. Look at our history, right? When we were identified as the word Negro, right? Real quick, Negro is the Spanish for Black, right? So it was still Black. Then it also came from the word from Niger and so forth. So people were like, okay, they call them niggers and whatever. We don't like the term niggers, all right? Why? Because niggers have a bad connection. When we say Black, right? Black has this bad connection because back in the 1500s and so forth, they identified Black with witchcraft and so forth. So when they started, when the merchants and the white privilege, they wanted to distinct, just giving you a real quick snapshot of history here, distinguish their people from us. They said, okay, you all poor white trash, all right, you guys are white, and you guys over here are Black. The Africans are Black. Black, we use the word Black, that has a stigma to it. So nigga has a stigma to it, Negro has a stigma to it. Then now, if we say Africans, the Africans will say, "No, y'all ain't Africans.
Right.
Y'all ain't Africans." So we are constantly trying to find this identity, like and we here in Jamaica, Jamaica, the word Jamaica used to be called Ex-Mica, because it was the Maroon Indians and other Indians that used to run here, just like here in America and all that. And matter of fact, they're not correctly called Indians. They're the native people. That was their country. Somebody just came and stole it and then said they discovered it. So when Christopher Columbus came, he made them change up all of that. So then we call Jamaican. So a lot of Jamaicans are like, nah, I'm not Jamaican. I'm African. But then we go back to Africans are saying, nah, y'all ain't African.
Y'all ain't African, right.
So you see, it's like for us, to try to really find an identity, it's like, it's like, every time we come up with something, when James Brown was like, "Yo, I'm Black and I'm proud," and he flipped the script on that, the script on that, everybody was like, "Yeah, I'm Black." Before nobody was calling themselves Black, they were calling themselves colored and were like, Negro. But then when he said that, I'm Black, so it's like you're right when you said the identity thing is like it's whatever we make it. But then it's still, that's still surface. Who truly are we as a people? That is the true question. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, Mike, to go into what you're saying. Who truly?
Let me say, for me, who I am, and this is why I just gave that little history then and before, just my personal discovery. And I love how you walk through these different ways to identify, Denry, all of these different terms that we've had. And I mentioned it briefly, just explaining ADOS and why that's the more preferred label for those who are the progeny of American chattel slavery. And one of the reasons for that is because because most people notice a lot of times when people identify with their countries of origin, right? People don't typically identify with colors. Like it's already understood and even when we say Asian, a lot of times people are not talking about the continent of Asia. They're talking about different countries within Asia. Because like people from India are Asian, right? But they're called brown people. And there was a time where and it hasn't been mentioned in a while, where people, Oriental, if you prefer that, or Chinese or Korean, they were seen as the yellow man. But it's already been accepted that that's a racist term to call them that. In the same way that we just see that Washington football team, they changed their name because Redskin is historically a racist way to describe the indigenous people from this country. But now when you talk about us and this term black and to the conversation of should we disaggregate, for lack of a better term, or should we distinguish, the reason why ADOS is birthed of that is because that's the actual attempt to do that, is to say that this is a specific group. So when we talk about African and African American, so Africa is a continent with 54 countries in it. America's a country with 50 states in it. These are two totally different things. All of Africa's not the same. Egyptians and Ethiopians are not the same. And there is a beauty in this diversity. So when we talk about the black community, quote unquote black, and this kind of goes back to the earlier point of if that term matters, well, what we see is other communities don't accept their colors as being who they are. Like we even seen in this recent election, we saw what happened with the quote unquote Latin community. Well, for example, in Miami, Cubans voted at, I think it was a 70% rate for the Republican candidate. Well, everybody was like, how could you do that as the Hispanic community? But the Cuban community was saying, well, we heard that the Democrats were talking about socialism. We come from Castro in a socialist country in Cuba. That's a trigger word for us. But the problem was everyone assumed, well, you're brown and Mexicans are brown, so you guys are all the same. And so what a part of what ADOS does in terms of American descendants of slavery is it speaks directly to the country of origin, America, because the way we look at it is our ancestors have been here 400 years. We built the country, so there's no reason to try to cling back to Africa when we've already built a nation. It's just we're fighting the struggles within the nation that we built. That name comes as a result of saying, no, we're a specific group, just like Jamaicans are a specific group. They're not black Jamaicans, they're just Jamaican. And just like people from Barbados are Bajan, they're not black Bajans. As Arnel, as you mentioned earlier, they don't have to identify by color. They'll move with their country of origin. So I think that's part of this conversation on if we make distinguishments in our community. I think it's worthy to do that because it recognizes and acknowledges the uniqueness that we all have within this community.
And you know, I think what you're saying is so powerful, Mike. And I think it's also important for us to highlight that when we're making these discrimination, I mean, we're making these distinctions, we're not discriminating.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes people will take it as, okay, because we're saying we're not a part of that group, that we look down on them. No, it gives us the opportunity, right, to learn about this specific group. Let's say you have for instance, you have people from Trinidad. I know people from Trinidad. They don't say they're Trinidad Americans. They say that we're Trinis.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We're Trinis. So it gives me an opportunity, right, to instead of saying, well, you guys are here now, so you need to, even though I do believe they need to understand how Black people in America have traditionally been treated, because they need to understand that when people see them, they don't see that you from Trinidad. They see the color of your skin, and then they treat you accordingly, right? However, since we're talking about within our community, right? We're talking about within our community. Within our community, I don't need to try to lump them in with what I consider to be my identity, whether it be ADOS, whether it be Caribbean American, whether it be Afro-Latino. I don't need to lump them in and say, y'all need to join us so we can fight back against them. No, I need to be able to be willing to understand the beauty of their culture, right? And what their American experience is like. You see what I'm saying? Through the lens of their culture. So I think it's important for us to be willing to do that, and to be willing to recognize the beauty in diversity. You see what I'm saying? There is a beauty in diversity. And here's the thing. I think it's not an either or. I think it's a both and, because I think for so long there's been an unwritten thing that it has to be either or. Either you're with us or against us. You see what I'm saying? For those of us, as you guys so eloquently said it, for those of us here in America, people of color, for so long, and I think even up until now, we're still searching for an identity, right? We're still searching for something that we can latch on to and say, this is who we are, this is where we stand, right? And I think you guys did a very eloquent job of painting that picture. And I think that it's important that we don't look at other groups, right? And it's important for them too, because a lot of them look at Black Americans as inferior. See what I'm saying? They look at us as we are inferior. And all of our idiosyncrasies are somehow less than in their eyes.
And that's actually the opposite.
That needs to stop.
It's been a lot. That's a large reason why you don't see the advocacy for a specific group, in particular the ADOS community. You don't see the same kind of advocacy from those who are not necessarily part of that particular community, is because of the stigma and the false all stereotypes are false, but the stereotypes of what it means to be a descendant of slavery, chattel slavery in America, and what that cost, the cost that we bear as a result of that, all of the inequalities and all of the community, because we all live in this one community, but everybody's coming from it from different places. Where, as I mentioned before, you know, the massive immigration doesn't happen till after 65, but the first slave gets to America in 1619. Emancipation Proclamation is 1865. You know, Civil Rights Act comes in 65. So you're talking about only the large influx of quote unquote Black immigrants from Caribbean and Africa. That group doesn't come in till the 80s and 90s. But you have about 300 years of American history of one particular quote unquote Black group, the ADOS group here. And so it's important, like you said, Arnel, brilliantly, it's important for all of us. Like my wife is Haitian. Her parents are from Haiti. She's from America, but her parents are from Haiti. And there's so much beauty in her culture. I love everything about it. I joke with I have friends from back home that whose parents are from Haiti. They're first generation Americans, and I've been joking for the past couple of years that I'm an honorary Haitian. So it's just, there's so much beauty and who we are and everybody's uniqueness. And once we bring those things together and start talking about the unique challenges we had, I think it creates a better world.
It does.
You know, listen, that cremas ain't no joke.
Oh,
You ask your
she
wife
don't
about
make
that
that, man.
cremas.
She don't make that
That thing will
Clémence,
put
man.
you over.
She don't make that,
I
man.
know.
Well, what are you doing
I'm not
drinking
saying,
Clémence,
but
man?
you ask her
We'll talk
about
about that
that.
later. What are you doing drinking that,
Anyway,
man, Pastor?
moving on. Hey,
Yo, y'all gotta you gotta break
man,
break that down for me. What is that?
at our wedding, my wife and I wedding, because my wife too is Haitian American, and you know, her best friend gave us one of those 2 gallon of, she made it fresh cremas, man. Dude,
It's like,
I was bent. I can't.
yo, listen, man,
Every
but
day I was
that's
coming
not.
from work. Every day I was coming from work.
Yo,
And
man,
respect to my man Mike, you know, who went through
this
AA.
man
That's it,
became an
man.
alcoholic.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
But dude, every day I
listen,
came
man.
from work,
Many
I went to
events
the
with some of my
refrigerator.
Haitian friends back in my bad days where we drank some Clémence, man. Like, so praise the Lord for
Yo,
deliverance.
listen, Arnel,
Amen.
I had to throw that thing out, man, because I was coming from work every single day. I'm driving from work, and all I'm thinking
All you
about
thinking
is
about?
a glass of cremas when I get home.
Yo, okay, so listen, since we being honest, tell the people, did you throw it out or did you just do it
Right.
from the fridge to your car?
I drank 3/4 of it.
3/4 of it?
Okay. On
On the way to the dumpster.
right?
Like, let me just get one last swig before it's all over.
On the way to the dumpster.
Listen, I'm gonna turn this thing up. Turn it up.
But then we had it made.
Oh my goodness!
So
oh
anyway,
my God!
Moving on to my story. That's quite a long time ago. So yo, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm new to ADOS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna. Can I be honest? But this is a be honest, and I know that there's gonna be times in these episodes for those our listeners, we're not gonna agree. Like, I'm already mad. And I'm explaining why I'm mad with ADOS, right? Because it excludes me, right? So I already shared with the guy.
Too bad.
Why?
Yeah, let's ask
for
why.
our new listeners. For our new listeners, for those who are listening, and once again, appreciate y'all for listening, and we want you to keep in the conversation. You know, hashtag Be Honest Podcast, and just explain to us. You know, give us some feedback on the conversation. You know, like I said, I'm one for identity. Here's why I'm already feel isolated from this situation here, because ADOS, to me, it focused on Americans. So when I was growing up in New York, I share this real quick. I was a black man. I was a black youth. We were all black. West Indians were black. Africans were black. Well, we were joking Africans, but they were black too. You know, we called them African booty scratchers. They would turn around and call me West Indian booty scratcher.
Disrespectful, man.
Yeah. I mean, dude, when we were joning and snapping on each other, it was like our cultural thing. I come over here into the Northwest and people get sensitive. Oh, you so sensitive. You shouldn't say that. I was like, oh, come on, dude. For us as black kids, listen, the struggle was so real for us as black kids. For us to laugh, shoot, you couldn't take away our laughter.
Right.
So anyway, so racing up here, like I said, all I knew was black. Like I said, I love the culture. And plus, I had my West Indian culture, and we all were black, especially when we got pulled over by the cops. When I got pulled over by the cops many a times, but one time, particular time, I think I shared this, when I got slammed, my face got slammed on the wall.
Yeah.
Right? The dude that was with me, I had 2 American friends, African-American friends who were with me, and my homeboy who's from Haiti. Not one time did a cop isolate us and say, hey, you over here, you sound like you're Jamaican, so you're not as bad as this American guy
right
here. And you over here from Haiti, you know what I'm saying? It was like all of us.
Right.
And when you were talking about Amadou, we marched in that. And all of us, I was standing like 2 people from Al Sharpton. I had the Muslim brothers over here. I had the African Israelite, the black Israelites over here. And it was like, yo, we just in our blackness. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to Sounds of Blackness. Malcolm X.
Black beret, black leather jacket.
Malcolm X.
He thought he was QEP, man.
I had my medallion on, all that, right? And I had my flat top on. Dude, I love the blackness.
Yeah.
When I say the blackness, the culture.
Yeah.
And but when we as black people in Jamaica, we say blackness, we're talking about just being as a dark skinned person, our women's, our queens, you know what I'm saying, the royalty, our music, our culture. So when we were around yes, we're from the West Indies and we talk to our American friends, we laugh and we joke. But when we stood together, we stood together. So when I got down to the South, as I shared before, I was like told, no, I'm not black enough. And there's like every layer of my life, I'm told, oh no, I'm not part of y'all.
Yeah.
But then when I try to go back to my people, because I was raised here since I was like 5 years old, it's like, you're not Jamaican enough.
You're kind of stuck in the middle.
You're a Yankee. You ain't no Jamaican no more.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like this constant like turmoil and struggle. So when I'm here reading up on the website ADOS, and I respect it. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, Mike. I respect it. But I'm like, dog, here we go again. I'm just another separate movement.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's just pushing me
that.
who love being a black or just accepted being in the blackness, that I'm like, okay, American descendant of slavery. Well, I guess we have the JDOS then. Jamaican descendants of slavery. I guess I'm going to start that.
Yeah, start that up.
Matter of fact, let me type that in and see if that's in there already. I'm sure somebody started. If not, I'm going to coin the phrase and make money out of it.
Yeah, you definitely American. Just saying that. Always trying to make some money. Always trying to monetize, man. Greedy Americans, man.
You definitely
American. I take each culture and make it my own. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just always been an identity issue, man. You know, seriously.
Yeah,
like
man.
I said, once again, with my last name being White.
Oh, yeah.
Add another layer on top.
Yeah, man, bro. Add another layer. My goodness.
Well,
yo.
But yeah, I don't want to get into my...
No, man. It's good. Yo, listen, man. This is the Be Honest podcast, brother.
No.
This is what we do.
It's a constant...
What we do.
Absolutely. And bro, and D, I think there will be some of our listeners who will connect with that. And because as you were going through it, man, I know you were just kind of, just trying to keep it light. You know what I mean? But I really felt that, man. I really felt that, man, because apart, listen, we were created to exist in community. Right?
Yeah.
And when you don't feel like you belong to a community, it can really eat away at you, man. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, we're unashamed about our faith. We're brothers in Christ. So, regardless to what, you're a part of that community. Right. But it doesn't take away. It doesn't take away from the fact that, you as a man of color, you want to know, where do I belong? You see what I'm saying? Like, what can I latch on to? What can I ride for? What can I fight for? You see what I'm saying? That's important. That's important as well.
Yeah,
so I feel what you were saying.
Yo, for sure, bro. And listen, Denry, like that, what you're speaking about is, as I just mentioned, that's what goes on in my home. Like I said, my wife is Haitian American. So you can imagine having this discussion, and there's been times where she said to me, and we've had conversations like, if I'm being honest, she was like, yo, so would you have rather been with a ADOS woman? I mean, what are you saying? Like, do I not count? Because she said the same thing that Denry, you just said. She said, well, I've been in America my whole life. I was born in America. I'm just black. I didn't know that there was a difference. And it's been this constant conversation of us just looking at the realities where, while there, like for your example, while there will be certain racial acts of the expression of race on those brown, this systematic racism is a lot larger, like convict lease. Like, why do our communities look the way that they do? Well, it's like a lot of the stuff Arnel mentioned earlier, his dad explained to him, the Jim Crow era. You talk about before then, you have convict leasing, redlining. You have all of these different things that one particular group experienced to the point of where we are today. So it's not to say that someone else is not a part of. It is to say, like Arnel mentioned earlier, there is a uniqueness of this community what and so part of the conversation I have a lot, because again, a lot of my friends were, again, this Black community, there's so many of us with so many different beautiful and amazing stories. So part of this is just part of the whole ADOS movement is just to share this story and say, look, there is a particular group that has experienced something. And the second piece of why ADOS is important is as it relates to reparations and the reparative justice for the things that I mentioned, the 246 years of chattel slavery, 100 years of Jim and Jane Crow, that being systematically locked out. If there is no distinction for a group, if it's just reparations for Black people, then you now have an issue where you're basically saying it's reparations for no people, because there's one group that has been afflicted in America in a specific way. And so it's one of those things where it's like, again, this desire to identity is the topic. So in this desire to find identity, one can't be in search for his own identity and remove the search in order to not offend someone else's identity. It's not to say that other person's identity doesn't matter, but it is to say, how can I stop searching on behalf of somebody may be offended by it? That's why when I talk about reparations a lot and about ADOS specifically for reparations, there is the pushback of, well, what about me? And Arnel, you told me something phenomenal one time. We was talking about masks, and we was talking about people not wearing masks. And Arnel, you had said to me, you said, hey, for this one time, can you not think about you? Like, for this one time, can you not think about you? And so that's kind of like what's, not to say, again, Denry, what you're saying matters and it's important. It along with that is one of those situations where, like, hey, man, if I'm telling you what my story is and what my people going through, can you just not think about you in that moment and be like, dang, man, I didn't know you went through. I didn't know your people went through all that. No, can I talk to you about that?
But see, But see, here it is. It's to me, when I'm thinking about it, and while you're talking, I was like, you know what, man, the best example I can give it to, and I'm not trying to be a Black Hebrew or Black Israelite. I don't want them to like, oh, see, we told y'all. Is those of you who read your Bible and read the scriptures, the best group of understand what I'm thinking and what I desire is the children of Israel. There were one nation, but there were 12 different tribes. And so, you know what I'm saying? So you had the Benjamins over here, the Benjamites over here, the Judah over here. Right. Joseph, you got all family. Different crew, but they're what? They're one nation.
They're all the children of Israel.
So in New York, yes, you got the Jamaicans over here, you got the Africans over here, you got the West Indies, you got the I didn't meet no Canadians until I got to Oakwood. But anyway, you got all these over here. But at the end of the day, when you look at us, you see one people. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, dang, I was like, man, when I heard the ADOS, I was like, oh, okay. At first I didn't understand. And then I'm like, hold on. I thought it was going to be like something like, man, here we are. Here's our identity as one people. And then in each one, you got these different families. That's right. You know what I'm saying? But it's one people. You know what I'm saying? Wow. But then when I'm reading up on it and listening, I'm like, oh. Because here's the thing. I think that we need to put the blame where the blame is. We need to put the blame where the blame is to our listeners out there. And that is what white America and white Europe America, whatever Europeans, whatever they want to call themselves, did to us. Sure. And still doing even today. Earlier this month, what happened in that Capitol on was that January 6th, right? When the whites went against whites. I mean, Black people were looking back and like, wow. And we could all relate and say, listen, whether I'm from New York or whether I was from Atlanta or Jamaica or Canada and I'm Black, if I went up there with my crew and we went up there and did the same thing, all of us would have been dead. And you all know that. Been no more. Because why? Because why? When they look at us, whatever shade we're from, no matter what our accent, they see black. But now, what they like to do is separate us. Already, they're like, oh, you Jamaicans, you West Indians, I like you guys, but I don't like those African Americans. You Africans, I can take some good stuff from you guys, but see, you guys are not as good as the Jamaicans and stuff. And so in our mind, we're really working with this psyche, like, yeah, maybe I am better than African Americans. So that's what I'm saying to myself is like, yo, I want us to be on a united front as a black people, not because we're trying to be black superior than anybody else. I think we as blacks need to get us together, get our stuff together. You know what I'm saying? And be one family. Yes, we have these different tribes, but we one people, one family, just different things that we bring into the table.
Yeah.
But shout out to ADOS. No, don't misunderstand to our listeners out there. I am not trying to put that pity party like, oh, I feel separated from you guys. You put me over there. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say, like, man, you know, like, okay, I understand and I appreciate it and I will respect it. But I'm like, man, as a person like us, is just like, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm going to start my ADOS.
But so D, just for some clarity for our listeners, how would you identify? Would you say I'm Caribbean American? How would you identify?
I gotta identify the fact I am Caribbean, so I gotta say maybe African Jamaican American. I mean,
so where's this Africa coming from? What?
Okay, because here's real quick, and I don't want to take up the airtime. Real quick, I wanted to explain that earlier too, Arnel. Very good question. Why we say Africans, especially Jamaicans, we stick to the African, even if some of them don't want us, right? And I say some of them don't want us.
Right.
Like when we go to the Rastafarians, when they go to Ethiopia, they just love them, right? But Ethiopia got its own issues itself. We look at it this way. When a Chinese person goes to anywhere in the world, they're still identified as Chinese. An Indian goes anywhere in the world, like I'm talking about Indian, not what they call Native American Indian, okay? They still identified as Indian. You see what I'm saying? So when a European goes anywhere in the world, he's considered European. But when we as black people, we got
notice the distinction. You just said Indian, but notice you just said Indians going somewhere in Africa. India's a country, Africa's a continent. China's a country, not a continent. Africa's a continent.
No, Asian. Okay, but okay. Even though, yes, I do see what you're saying, but nobody, even though we and maybe that's another subject, we'll do our research and do another subject, but when no one is more distinct, and I'm not, listen to what I'm saying, no one is more distinct in this world like the black race. You see what I'm saying? No one has lost their identity like us. And so I see what you're saying. A Japanese, he goes to it. Yeah, people are going to say he's Asian, or they're going to think he's Japanese and so forth. I definitely a Chinese. And he has to tell them, no, I'm not from China. I am from Japan. I understand that.
Why are you talking like that?
Yeah, right. He's gonna get offended by you saying you look Japanese, and then he's gonna get offended by you talking like that. You're gonna be offended all around.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, when we go someplace, it's what do we identify ourselves? So you say, okay, but even with your analogy, Mike, that fact that Africa is a continent and the others are countries, what country then do we say
we're Americans
when we are international?
We're from America.
But that's not our rule.
That's what it is, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's what white supremacy has done, is that we're the only group that's still holding on to the color. Every other group has accepted, you're not just calling me yellow. You're not going to say I'm Japanese because I look like a Chinese guy. No, I actually have a country of origin. It's offensive for you to say that to me. So you will identify me by my country of origin, not my continent of origin. Like,
and what's that country?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You tell a Nigerian guy he's just African. No, from Nigeria. And then he has a tribe that's connected to Nigeria. So he's not just, he's Igbo, or, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's very specific that these people have specific cultures. Like,
but see, that's because with us, most of us, okay, yes, Ghana and some parts of Nigeria and so forth.
But that's
most
the
of us
point.
don't know where we're from in Africa.
Okay, time out. Okay,
Most of us don't know where we're from in Africa.
Yeah. I'm talking about your immediate lineage, not necessarily, of course. Listen, we understand if you trace everyone's history back, it's gonna go back to Africa. If you trace everyone.
No doubt.
So we can't do that. I'm talking about you. Your parents, what are your parents? Your parents are Caribbean, right?
So we're Jamaicans.
Okay.
I'm from Jamaica. I was born there. So yeah.
So you were born there, but you were raised here.
Yeah.
So do you identify as either Jamaican American or Caribbean American? Is that how you identify?
I'm Jamaican.
Okay, so you'll say I'm just Jamaican.
I'm Jamaican. Because
but you have bro, the American culture is fused in you.
Yo,
it is, but I'm still Jamaican.
Yo, part of it is the denial. Yo, I think part of it, Denry, I don't know if it's true, but I know it's true for us as the ADOS community. Part of it is a denial of wanting to be attached to this country and not wanting to feel any association with America because of the treatment that people that look like us have received. So that was part of that whole.
No.
Okay.
Mine's Mike is not even that. Mine's is I thought I was. Like I said, go back to listen to what I'm saying.
You can't rewind while we're doing.
Rewind this tape and understand what I'm saying. When I was in Harlem.
So I don't know why you asked that. It's not a cassette tape.
I was in Harlem.
I don't know why you said that.
When I was in Harlem, it was all good and gravy. You know what I'm saying? We were black. When I went down to the South, and the brothers in the South told me I'm not black enough, then I was told I'm not African American. So you see what I'm saying? So it's not that I don't, dude. I had my share, and I'm still gonna probably get my share of being pulled over because I'm a black man. So but Jamaica, it happens in Jamaica too. We get discriminated in Jamaica. We get treated bad in Jamaica and so forth. But what I'm saying, I'm not what is the word? I'm not separating myself from African Americans. African Americans told me, no, you're not black.
Yo, listen,
you're not American.
Bro, we gotta do a part two because we'll talk about this the whole night. We gotta do a part two.
We have to. But there's a lot
more to talk about, but we gotta wrap up. So fellas, this is a heavy conversation, and we're gonna keep having heavy conversations, my people, all of you listeners. Like, we're gonna continue to have these heavy conversations. So fellas, man, black identity, man, is so heavy, but give some closing thoughts, fellas. Just really quick, if you can, 30 seconds. Closing thoughts, man.
All right. So I just want to say, listen, understand that first and foremost, understand who you are, embrace who you are, love who you are. You were not created by accident. You were created on purpose. You have a purpose. Okay? That's what I want to say to y'all. We can unpack the other stuff and try to get more understanding, but that's what I want to leave with y'all. You know what I mean? Know who you are, accept who you are, love who you are, and understand that you were not created by accident. You have a purpose.
So me, once again, folks, and I don't want it to be misunderstood. I love my blackness. I love my Jamaicanness. It's all one to me. You know what I'm saying? I love being part of the melting pot of Africans, from different countries, whatever we are. At the end of the day, when I get to heaven, I'm going to have a new title called Overcomer. So that's why I'm getting rid of Overcomer. You know what I'm saying? So I claim my kingdom now. I'm claiming my kingdom now, my throne now. But real, like Arnel said, y'all, be true to who you are. Love who you are. You may not understand every single detail, where you're from, the DNA and all that, but that's all good. Just love and appreciate where you are right now, who you with, your family, and love your neighbor, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter. You know, we all have issues. Just love everybody and love most of all.
Man, phenomenal fellas. Listen, man, as always, I appreciate you guys and appreciate this conversation. And to our listeners, follow us on Instagram at Be Honest Podcast. Look out for us. We're streaming on every platform, Anchor, Spotify, all the other platforms where you can get your podcast at. This is a great conversation. I don't need to add anything to what the fellas said. And so continue to be honest with yourselves, be honest with your family, and just always be honest. Peace, man.
What's up, my world? Listen up. I have this new book out here. This is Denry the Overcomer. Okay, I didn't write the book, but it's by GenXYZ. Listen up. It's called Fast Track Your Calling. Listen, I'm not going to act as if I'm a bookworm. I'm not going to do that to you. I don't sit down and read a whole bunch of books all day long, right? However, every now and then I look for a book that inspires me. And this book right here, oh my goodness. Fast Track Your Calling by GenXYZ. Listen, you got to go online and just type in fasttrackyourcalling.com. Get yourself a copy. Get your mom a copy. Your pops a copy. Your auntie a copy. Your uncle, your grandfather, your sister, your brother, your children. Matter of fact, just go ahead and get 10 copies and just hand them out to random strangers. It's called Fast Track Your Calling.com. You can get it on audiobooks. You can get it on all of the platforms. Kindle. You can get hard copy if you like the hard copy. If you want a tangible book in your hand, just get a copy and get a copy for someone else. It will change your life. It's changing my life. So please get this book, Fast Track Your Calling. We're going to interview him in the month of February. So you have got to go ahead and read it. Stay tuned so you'll know more about the book, Fast Track Your Calling. Peace. We out.